Aaron Rodgers, who needs to get over himself, according to some Packers fans, venting to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. The fans didn't stop there, saying Rodgers never takes credit for anything bad, and he's basically Trent Dilfer. While others blame Coach Mike McCarthy, saying, I don't think Rodgers will win another Super Bowl under the McCarthy-Ted Thompson regime. Colin, who deserves more blame for the Packers' struggles, Aaron Rodgers or Mike McCarthy?
Well, it's very confusing. It's like, why can't Andrew Luck do anything in the first quarter? I don't have an answer. Why is Aaron Rodgers over the last 15 games eroded? Here's what I find interesting. Aaron, for the first time, is taking heat, and McCarthy's not saving him. And I'm just wondering with Aaron Rodgers, when is Aaron Rodgers finally going to say, because the last 10 great teams he's played, he's 3-7. I looked it up. When's Rodgers going to say, okay, I'm pointing fingers now. I took one for the team for a year. This guy was great. In the last 15 games, something's happened. He's completing under 60% of his throws, and nobody's saving him. I'm waiting for Aaron Rodgers to explode at a press conference after a game because I can't figure it out.
I don't think that's going to happen. The guy's got 2 MVPs. He's got a Super Bowl. He's got a track record and a resume to weather this storm. He's had his brother on TV taking pot shots at him. He can handle some stupid fans. Listen, there's an issue in Green Bay that no one wants to talk about, and it is obvious. It is when I say it, you'll be like, well, that makes sense. They changed offensive coordinators in February of 2015. Aaron Rodgers, everyone's saying, hasn't been right the last 2 years. Something's off. They changed offensive coordinators. Edgar Bennett, their former running back, who I think is in their Hall of Fame, he went from running backs coach to wide receivers coach to 2015. Mike McCarthy makes him the offensive coordinator and moves Tom Clements to associate head coach offense. Then Mike McCarthy, later in the season, he reinstates himself as the primary play caller. What has changed? The offensive coordinator. Why does no one want to talk about it? And I'm sorry to be politically incorrect. Edgar Bennett is one of 5 black offensive coordinators in the NFL. People are reluctant to talk about. That's where the change is. I understand McCarthy's calling the plays, but what happens in the meeting rooms during the week has as much impact as what happens on the field as any play that's ever called. Their meetings aren't right. Edgar Bennett may be in over his head. If I'm looking at the key ingredient what's shaking up Aaron Rodgers, it's a new offensive coordinator.
Well, I mean, it's a mystery to me because here's Aaron Rodgers. In the last 15, 16 games, the numbers bear it out. I mean, I'm not making stuff up here. He's completing under 60% of his throws. His arm's no worse. His leg's no worse. He hasn't been hurt. He's still good pre-snap. He ad-libs, but he's always ad-libbed. I mean, it's just sometimes you watch football. Big Ben with Todd Haley initially. They didn't jive. They didn't get along. Big Ben, for about a year, wasn't right. Wasn't right mentally. He was fine physically. You may be right, but all I know is this. These are the peak years for Aaron Rodgers. In the last year, and this is fair to say, he's been good. He hasn't been great.
He hasn't been old Aaron Rodgers. He's 31 TDs and 8 interceptions is still great in my opinion. Listen, I'm going to go back to Edgar Bennett. Look, I know I'm going to take some heat for criticizing the guy, but listen, if you don't put some heat on the fire, you don't make people great. And it's just like we've been blasting Mike Tomlin for this whole year almost. And look at what Mike Tomlin's doing and feeling some pressure and feeling some heat. And now the Pittsburgh Steelers are performing at a really, really high level. You got to put heat on people that you believe in or you want to have success. Edgar Bennett, I read a piece by Bob McGinn, covers the Packers for the Milwaukee newspaper. He talked about how the wide receivers, when Bennett went from wide receivers coach to offensive coordinator, the wide receivers play got poor. So they've not only hurt the offense.
His loss has hurt the receivers, but he was not ready for the coordinator position.